Good morning, guys. Welcome to another video. It is January 2nd of 2025, and that means that our no-buy year has officially started. I am crazy stoked for this next year. I'm so excited to see what we're gonna be able to do, the goals that we're gonna be able to reach, the debt we're gonna be able to pay off. I am stoked for all of it. So in today's video, I wanna talk about that. I wanna talk about kind of how I'm feeling, things that I'm really excited about, but also things that I'm kind of nervous about as well. So go ahead and grab something warm to drink, sit down, and let's talk about it. Hello and welcome here. If you're new around here, hi, my name is Sherry, and this year in 2025, I am doing a no spend year. So if that is something that you are interested in, if you would like someone to go alongside of you during this no spend and encourage you and motivate you along the way, share in that journey, I would love to have you subscribe down below. I will be posting videos about my no spend the entire year. So really excited about that. But without further ado, we are going to talk about sort of how I'm feeling about this no spend. Like I said in the intro, I am super stoked to do this. But there are some things that I'm a little nervous, a little concerned about. And I think that that's actually very common for most people who are doing a no spend. So first up, mostly I am excited about this challenge. If we can successfully complete this no buy year, we can pay off all of our credit card debt, which will literally change our entire lives. Really excited about no longer carrying the burden of credit card debt. I keep thinking about the verse in Proverbs. I believe it's chapter 22, verse 7. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it's the verse that talks about, and many people are very familiar with it, about the borrower being slave to the lender. As embarrassing as this sort of is to admit, I can't remember the last time that I have not had some amount of credit card debt. Actually, I take that back. 4 years ago, we got all of our credit card debt paid off. Unfortunately, that lasted all of about 6 months. And from there, it's just sort of snowballed again. So looking forward to being out from under that burden is just, it gets me so amped up and so motivated and so on fire to go through this no spend year. With that in the back of my mind, with every single purchase that I impulsively want to make, that is really the driving force behind saying no. If I can say no now to whatever that purchase might be, not only is it going to get me that much closer to getting the credit card debt paid off, but it also teaches me each and every time to be content and grateful for what I already have. And I think in our society, we are impulsive and so consumeristic because we are all discontent. And I think that really stems from all of the ads that we see, the social media. That's a really big part of it, I think. And so teaching myself and rewiring my brain to be grateful and content instead of constantly pining after more, after what I don't have, after what other people have, is something that I'm really looking forward to enjoying the process of. Now, with all of my excitement about this challenge, with looking forward to how much our lives will be changed when we no longer have the burden of debt, I'm also nervous about some things, and that's really what I wanted to talk about the most, because when you embark on a challenge like this, a challenge that is honestly really overwhelming, I think that there's a lot of like what ifs that come into play, that there's a lot of doubt that comes into play. And so that's something that I've really been thinking about and considering the last week as we've sort of come into 2025. So if I'm honest, I am nervous about successfully completing this challenge. And I'm nervous because, not because I don't think I can say no, it's that I don't know how long I can successfully say no before that sort of seed of this is boring, or I'll just say yes this one time, before those types of things start to happen. I have tried to pay off debt before, and what has happened is I have decided that, you know, I'm all in, we're gonna get this paid off, and then I'm in it to win it for a couple of months, and I get bored, and it just becomes too much almost. I feel like it's too restrictive. I kind of get to a point where I'm like, I'll just buy this one thing, but then I buy that one thing and I immediately feel like I've fallen off the wagon, and instead of picking myself back up and continuing on, I convince myself that, well, you bought this thing you weren't supposed to buy. You've completely ruined this challenge. So now we're just gonna give in and completely derail ourselves. It is such a destructive mental pattern. So that's something that I'm really nervous about. But I think that with me looking at our finances, and when I made another video about my strategies that I'm using to help myself not derail in the way that I just explained. And if you're interested in those strategies that I'm using, I'll go ahead and link the video here for you guys to watch. But I think one thing that's gonna be a lot different this go around with getting this debt paid off by doing a no spend year is that I did a forecast budget of what our realistic budget is for the entire year. I took into account everything that I could think of, all the different variables, everything that happens differently in different seasons. I can very confidently say that if I can stick to this no spend, we can have our credit card debt paid off by December. So that is something that I think, because it's more realistic, because I can physically see that we are able to accomplish this, I think that that's really gonna help me to, even if I do fall off the wagon or mess up at some point in time, to help me keep on going and to not just sit in this mental space where I messed up this one time, so it's all ruined, let's forget it, because that's where I've been before. The other thing that I struggle with on a very regular basis is comparing my season of life with my friends' seasons of life. I don't so much do it with people that I don't know, and I'm not on social media, so I think that that also helps. But one of my really good friends is renovating her house, and it is absolutely stunning. Another one of my friends is wrapping up building their brand new house. I have these friendships with wonderful women in my life who are in different seasons of life than I am. And that for me can be really hard, because it's hard for me to look at what other people have going on in their lives and not want it for myself. And that's where that envy and that contentment both can really play a really big role in how I react to it. And so I want to lean into being content and just realizing that just because I am in a season of life where we have a home, we have renovated that home mostly, with a few exceptions, and that our season of life right now is getting debt paid off, becoming debt free. That's the season of life that me and my family are in right now, and that is not a bad season of life to be in by any means, because we are committed to doing it. So that's something that I really want to keep at the forefront of my mind when those thoughts of, oh, I really want to do what she's doing, come in. Because I know myself, and I'm very easily swayed into wanting to do what other people are doing. And really, it's just with like house related stuff. I don't know what it is. I think it's just that innate wanting as a mom and a wife and somebody that wants to just create a really cozy home where my family is comfortable and happy. That's where that stems from. And that's not a bad place for your heart to be, but I think it's really easy to get tripped up into the physical aspects of the home and not focusing on what really should be in the limelight, which is how we're treating one another, how we're interacting. Is the gospel being spread to my kids? Am I being a godly example to my husband? All of those things that mean so much more and should mean more, I think, if I'm honest, have sort of taken a back seat. Now, I wake up every day wanting to be an example of Jesus to my family, but I also get very caught up in the aspect of what my home looks like as well. So when we're doing this no buy, I'm really excited to lean into the contentment of we have enough physical possessions. How can we make our home more spiritually alive and fulfilled? The other thing, and I'm sure many of you probably share this same sort of anxiety as well, but the other thing that I'm nervous about going into this no spend is the cost of literally everything. I have already raised our grocery bill a couple of $100s a month because we just couldn't make it on what I had budgeted before. And so I went ahead and I raised it, but I still feel like it's not enough. And I know that part of that is because I was still going to the grocery store, and therefore the impulse purchases were still being added to the cart, which add up significantly. And so I do think that by doing only grocery pickup, that the elimination of those impulse purchases will drastically be reduced. And I also think that not buying a lot of cleaning products will also help out tremendously, because if you don't know already, you can go literally broke buying cleaning stuff. It's ridiculous. By doing grocery pickup and not buying cleaners, I really think that we'll be able to stay in the budget that I've set, so I'm looking forward to that. But everything is just so expensive. I may have to tweak and adjust our budget as we go into this year to see how things play out, what pricing does with a new president in office and all of that good stuff. That's the other thing that I am nervous about. I'm trying to not look ahead into it too much, because I can sit here and worry about the future all day long and it's not gonna do any good because I don't have any control over it. So I'm really trying to lean into just reacting to it as it happens and just doing the best that we can with what we have. That's sort of how I'm feeling going into this no spend. Like I said, overall, I'm very excited. We're off to a really good start. I know that we're only 2 days in, but we're off to a good start. I haven't bought anything unnecessary. I actually worked yesterday, so I wasn't able to film, but it was time and a half pay, so I was not gonna say no to that. I have a few reservations, but again, like I've talked about, I have things that I am going to be trying out and introducing to help me sort of navigate those. If you have recently decided that you would also like to do a no spend, then I have a few suggestions, helpful tips for you to get started and make sure that your no spend is successful as well. The first thing is that you need to have a clear and written out plan. You need to have a very specific list of things that you can buy and things that you can't buy. And I would encourage you to, number one, think about the gray areas. The other thing is, once you've made your list, don't change it, because I fear that what will happen, and I've thought through this as well with my own list, when you start to change the variables in your no spend list, it almost allows you to add in things that you really shouldn't and take things out that you really shouldn't. My next suggestion to make your no spend successful would be to have friends and family or an online community like this one around you to be able to support you through this year. There's another YouTuber, Grace Nevitt, who said that one of the biggest reasons that she was able to successfully complete her no spend is because she had friends and family around her that were supporting her through this challenge. I think that that is a very wise thing to do. You also want to make sure that the people in your life know you're doing it, so that when you have to say no because something is on your no spend, no buy list, that they understand why you're saying no and it doesn't come across the wrong way. So make sure, if you don't have anybody in your life, which I really hope and pray that you do, but if you don't have anybody in your life that you are able to share that with, go ahead and make sure to subscribe to the channel. There's a bunch of people on my channel who are also participating in a no spend. Everybody here has just been so lovely and supporting and encouraging. I've also considered starting a Discord server for this no spend. Again, I got that idea from Grace Nevitt, but I think it's a great way for us to be able to communicate and chat, talk about things as we run into them, which we inevitably will. It would give us a place to celebrate wins, to encourage each other when we fall off the wagon. So if you would like me to start a Discord server for this no spend year 2025, I would be honored to do that. Just let me know down in the comments and I'll make sure to make that happen. My last tip is, if you fall off the wagon, and this is the most important one, hands down, if you fall off the wagon, if you slip up, if you buy something that's on your no buy list, do not let it derail the rest of your no spend. We are human, therefore we are imperfect. We are bound to mess up and make mistakes. And if that is you, and I'm really also speaking to myself here because this is something that I struggle with as well. If this happens, learn from why you bought that thing. What was happening? What emotions were you feeling? What was going on that day or that week when you sort of fell off the wagon? Figure out what happened, give yourself some grace, and just pick yourself up and keep moving on. Because I don't know anybody that's done a no spend perfectly. There's gonna be temptations, we're gonna have bad days where, you know, our emotions get the best of us, all kinds of things. But the important thing is to keep going, because you will make more progress if you slip up and decide, you know what, I slipped up, it happens, I'm human, and move on, than if you just sit in that mindset of, well, I messed up once, so there's no way that I can keep doing this. That is where I've been 8,000 times, okay? 1,000 times I have been there. So I would lovingly encourage you, pick yourself back up, reach out to people here on the channel, and we will encourage you back on the wagon, because you can do it. I can do it. We got this, guys. We got this. That is all that I have for you guys today. I just wanted to do an initial kind of check-in, how I'm feeling, how things are going, all of that. I want to see if there's a way that I can track my spending and maybe get it into categories and a breakdown so you guys can see that, just because I think that that would be sort of helpful and fun, make it a little more interesting. I'm gonna try my best to figure out a way to do that. If you are participating in a no spend, go ahead and comment down below with what you're excited about, how it's gone for the first 48 hours. Would love to hear from you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching until the end. I really appreciate it. If you enjoy content like this, be sure to give this video a thumbs up for me and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps YouTube to push the algorithm out. My heart is in this channel, and I hope that that comes across in my videos. I ideally would love to have this channel get monetized. While I only work part-time right now, I would love to give up my job to do this full-time. So even just a simple like would be so helpful. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.